Good morning from these grand United States of America. It is season 2 of Stateside Squad. And boy, do we have a special show lined up for you tonight. I'm sure most of you will be listening on replay. This is going to be a little bit like Seinfeld. It's a show about nothing, but we talk about everything. Here we go.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Oh, that logo always makes me want to just jump on the tube and go get a dirty burger before the game, I got to say. Okay, so welcome to, by the way, the MLS part on the logo, just so everyone knows, it means must love soccer, not Major League Soccer. Just letting you guys know. Oh, my God. I'm so happy. Two of my favorite gooners in the house with me, and our special guest will be with us momentarily. Mr. Bearded Gooner Tanner himself from Same Old USA and, of course, the Bearded Gooner podcast. Welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you, Soph. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
Yep. And Mr. JJ Garcia back in the house, who will be joining me regularly on this show this season. JJ, live via satellite from Arizona. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Always love me on here, Soph, especially with you. And give me new friends all the time and Gooner friends, which is even better.
Absolutely.
You know what? That's such a good point, isn't it? Because as toxic as Twitter can be, we've made lots of friends through Twitter, you know, and I think sometimes we forget the power of social media when it's used in the right way. Right, guys? I mean, you know, we have listeners in Uganda and India and, you know, Madagascar and Australia. And I'm sure the same for your show too. And JJ, through your network and the show that you're on as well, you get people sending you notes from all corners of the earth. And that's the great thing about social media, right?
Yeah, there are some good things. And that's definitely one of them. It's just connecting everyone from around the world who have, you know, a lot of common interests, which like this beautiful game brings people from all over the world together to talk, to get similar interests and, you know, be back the same team. We get a laugh and cry together. Majority of us are crying on this one lately, but you know. Well,
we haven't played Norwich yet, so you know, maybe we'll keep that one under our hat. And Tanner, for you, the same. I know sometimes you've wanted to take a step back from social media at times, and can be beautiful and it can be ugly all at the same time.
Yeah, it's important in this crazy world we live in today. It's you've got to find the positive, you know. And focus on that, not the negative, because Lord knows there's enough negative out there to go around. And you know, like JJ said, and like you said, so you know, social media, this is the good side of social media, being able to bring people together of like mind and like interests and excuse me, you know, create a bond, create a friendship, hopefully, and you know, who knows, maybe viva la revolution.
Yeah,
one of these days we'll all get together in one spot, and who knows what happens then? You know,
We're doing a French football show at noon with you know, the pirate Chris Carpenter himself. So thanks for the little teaser there, Giovanni. We are sending you love. The reason why he's been able to catch up with the show live this week is his family and he himself have been quarantined with COVID. Thankfully, they're all okay. One love up the Arsenal, Kroenke out. We're going to have to get those T-shirts done. I like that. One love up the Arsenal, Kroenke out. That's pretty sweet. Like Casey, listen, guys. Casey, you know, I'm sure he wouldn't mind me sharing this, but he's at the dentist, right? I mean, there's, well, maybe he will, but he's at the dentist. Listen, but Casey's going to be back for the 8 p.m. Noon Pacific time show with Chris to talk about the progress that Saliba is making in France and at Marseille. Seton will be joining us any time soon. And yes, FBAM, the tabloids clickbait. Before we get cooking on some conversations here, and by the way, you guys, Stateside Squad, the idea for this is we have a huge audience in the United States, and Tanner, who's part of Arsenal America as well. And JJ's been on a bunch of shows now here in the US with the Arsenal Gooners. They're an amazing crowd, an amazing fan base, and an incredible group of human beings. And sometimes it's hard for people to listen to the shows at certain times. And our goal here at the Highbury Squad is to bring you different shows at different times because we've got so many listeners from various continents. So in the next couple of weeks, Good Morning Gunners will also be returning as well. Vinny will go fetch Casey. But as you guys know, the rule of the house is hit the like button if you hate Tottenham. Otherwise, Vinny's going to come after you. Smash that like button. He's currently sitting on JJ's head. Well, look, Tanner and JJ, let's get some Arsenal chat before our guest jumps in. Arsenal Norwich this weekend. JJ, when we started off the show at the beginning of the season, you're so optimistic. You're like, listen, I'm an Arsenal fan. I start off every season thinking we're going to win the league.
Yeah, I do. I always start off thinking that we have a chance to win it. And obviously that got shot down pretty quick. I am excited, though, to see who's fit. So I'm excited about Norwich because we are much more fit. So I think it's more of a showcase of the start of the season for us. Yeah, we're obviously, 3 losses, but this is really I feel like the start of the season because, we have Partey back. He's going to be with Sambi, and I'm going to love that. I'm very excited for that duo in the center. And then who else is back? Where am I blanking? Oh, White. White's back.
Yeah, Ben White is back.
Oh, and Gabriel, right? He's back.
Gabriel's back.
Yep. And
the band's
we have
coming.
to start those guys. We have to start both those guys, right? Like that. Those guys will be tough to break down. I mean, they're big, they're strong boys, and they're both very skillful. So I'm excited for that.
So Tanner, I love JJ is one of the most optimistic people that I know, right? And it's so cool because I've heard it so many times. We've got this person back. We've got that person back. We've got this player back. Tanner, how are you feeling about the game coming up this weekend?
Well, I mean, Arsenal give us reason to be optimistic, right? I mean, let's face it. They think they're good enough that they could just give the rest of the league a 9-point head start. And don't worry, fellas. We got this. We'll catch up to you guys down the road. Slow and steady wins the race. It's so weird, Soph, because I look forward to every match. I really do. I look forward to every single match. I look forward to City, even though I really thought we would just get battered, not to the level that we did, but I still look forward. And it's what do we say? It's the hope that kills you, and it just feels like, yeah, if this goes this way and this goes this way, we could do this. We could win this game. And as for Saturday, how I feel, we should beat Norwich, right? I mean, we're something that's hit me over the course of the last 2 weeks is we're really sitting here talking about potentially losing to Norwich City at home. Like, think about that for a minute. That's how far we've fallen. But I'm with JJ. I feel good about it because I want to see these players. The only part of me that's pessimistic is, and I think, Sophie, you'll agree with this, is do we trust Arteta to make the right decisions in terms of the lineup?
That's the one.
Yeah, I'm with JJ. Like, I want to see Partey and Sambi Lokonga in midfield. For all I know, we're gonna get Mo El Neni in there.
No, El Neni's out. He's not able to play. And also, you know what? If Xhaka was available, I honestly believe he probably would have started in with Thomas Partey.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, he definitely would have.
Yeah.
Also, I think the key thing here is you're right, Tanner. We're playing at home. There's no excuses. He's got Ben White. He's going to have Gabriel. He's going to have Thomas Partey, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe, Saka. I think Emile Smith-Rowe's a bit of a doubt. But that's okay. We've got Odegaard and we've got those options now in terms of how he can set up, in that creative role or that number 10 role. And he's got options, right? The right back position, Double T's going to start. Let's see Tomiyasu, throw him into the frying pan. Kieran Tierney, he's not been off to a great start this season. And it's going to be a question of, is he going to start Leno or Ramsdale in goal? But this is his team now. This is Arteta's squad, and there are no excuses. None. And this is Norwich. We cannot afford to lose to another newly promoted side in the space of like 6 weeks, right? If you can't beat Norwich at home with, listen to this, Aubameyang, Thomas Partey, Lokonga, Tierney, Gabriel, Ben White, Saka, Odegaard. But let me tell you something, you guys. We can't underestimate Norwich. They like to play fast. They like to play quick. Farke is not... Every time I say his name, I'm like, I feel like I'm saying something wrong. They've got some talent in their team, Tanner.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Oh, my God. Todd Cantwell. Max Aarons is still there. Timo Pukki, striker, is still there. Look, they're going to come at us. I really believe they're going to come at us like Brentford did.
Rashika,
Yeah. There's no reason for them not to. Come at us, because the fact is, the way we play, so slow, so methodical, we're ripe for the taking. You come in and that's a great notch to put in your belt if you're Daniel Farke and sounds better when I say it. Right? Doesn't sound as bad. But no, great feather to put in your cap to come into the Emirates and beat Arsenal on their home ground, right?
Right.
Yeah,
well,
go on, JJ.
No one's fearing us right now. No one's like, oh man, I'm coming to Emirates. This is gonna be a tough game. They're coming in with confidence.
Yep.
Which is just ridiculous. And that's on our players. It's on Arteta, right? We're not a strong team. We're not that fearful team. Especially even if we go up 2-0, people know that they can break our defense down. Like teams are like, we will score because we can't hold a clean sheet. It feels like, you know what,
JJ, you bring up a really good point, because did you see the game that they played against Liverpool? They were actually decent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
They're not afraid to press and create, and their forward line is actually pretty quick.
Right. But when you talk about our players versus theirs, I mean, they're not in the same conversation, to be fair. I mean, we say that, but teams keep showing up against us. But what we spent and these players that we brought in, this shouldn't even be a conversation of being like, oh, they have these players. It's like, it really doesn't matter, because we're supposed to have these high caliber players, and they're just not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And we're relying on these young kids. Where's our veterans at? Where's the older guys stepping in and taking control of a game? They're not doing that. They're relying on Saka, ESR, and these young guys to really do it. And it's not really how it's supposed to be. Like, the veterans are supposed to be in there showing them the way, not relying on them. That's where I feel like we're at Arsenal right now. So.
There was, so for you guys that don't know, as you guys have been watching the World Cup qualifiers in your continent, in your region, and similarly, here in the United States last night, there was a huge qualifying game. The US went to Honduras. They hadn't started off their qualifying campaign decently. And, Pulisic, got injured in that game. I'm sure Chelsea will be stoked about that. But it felt similar to, if the US had lost that game, then Greg Berhalter, everyone was saying, should go, because there's enough time for the US to still qualify through the hexagon. And if there's one forgiving region for qualifying for the World Cup, if you get off to a really dodgy start, it's CONCACAF, right? And similarly with Arsenal, a lot of fans, you guys, are saying, if we lose to Norwich, does he still get a chance to work with this new team, work with the players Adu's got for him, work with the players that they've kind of worked on together? Does he get that chance? No. Hold on one second. Hold your thought, okay, because I'm going to bring Seton in here, right here. There he is. Bosh!
Hey. Hey, what's up? Sorry I'm late.
No worries. Better late than never. Welcome to the show, Mr. Seton O Connor from the Dan Patrick Show. You guys may know him as one of the Danettes. To us, he's a pure legend, and he works for me, the velvet voice in broadcasting. Welcome, Seton, to the Highbury Squad. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm honored to be asked. It's great to join you.
Oh, no, we're happy that you're here. So we were just talking about our own club, Arsenal, for a little bit. And I know you're not an Arsenal fan, but you are an avid soccer aficionado. You follow the Premier League, Serie A, European football. You're a nut when it comes to soccer. What's your take? I want to get your. I love getting opposing fans and totally neutral people's take on Arsenal Football Club, because I'm sure you were watching us when we were invincible, right? I mean, you've been watching soccer your whole life.
Right. Yeah, at least in the last 5 years or so. You know what? Like, Arsenal is not a team that I hate or any. I want them to be better than they are, and I almost get frustrated, even not as an Arsenal fan. I'm like, there's just so much talent on that team. How are they not getting better results? And that's sort of, I can only imagine the frustration. I know I have some friends who are just diehard supporters, and they're like, don't even bring it up. Don't even ask. Even they're tired of it. So,
yeah, it's really frustrating because, you know, a little bit like it must. I'm trying to think, like, maybe we're the Dallas Cowboys. You know, for a long time we were awesome and we rocked it and we won lots of championships and we've been irrelevant in our league, in the league, for like a number of years now. I try to kind of, you know, do that every now and again. But now Seton's here, I'm going to switch gears a little bit and we can switch back to the Gunners later. So you're listening to the Stateside Squad, which, you know, I love doing a little bit of, you know, soccer, football, as we like to call it, of the round kind, but there's the oval kind as well. But let's get Seton's take on why soccer? What made you fall in love with the game?
you know, I played as a kid up through high school, and I really loved the game. But honestly, even then, you know, in the like 80s and 90s, I feel like it was probably more difficult to find, you know, matches on TV. So it was really more about playing that I liked it than it was following any teams. And I would try to keep up with the U.S. men's national team as best I could. And then really it was, you know, my fast forward many, many years, my son absolutely fell in love with the game. And, you know, sports is such a father-son kind of thing that he just really took to the game in a big, big way. And he saw Paulo Dybala and was like, that's it. That's my guy. I love him. So we became huge Juve fans. Then Ronaldo signs there. And sort of, you know, how the rest plays out. But yeah, it was really my son that sort of showed me and got me back into the game, and like, dang, I've been missing this for a long time, you know? So that's really, yeah, I give him all of the credit.
Yeah, because what I found here, and by the way, Seton, meet the bearded Gooner, meet JJ as well. They're
That's
epic American soccer people. We call it football, as you know.
You're getting very Rebecca Lowe-ish. Like, with a mid-Atlantic accent in the Premier League.
So, Sophie, I think we like it when you say Farka better.
Seton, the manager of Norwich, who we're playing on Saturday, his last name is Farka, and you guys would have a lot of yeah, it's so bad. So, I said it earlier. Hey, but Rebecca Lowe's our girl. She's been on the show a couple of times, and I always find it that hilarious because she and I laugh about it. I told her you were coming on the show today as well, and she says hi, and she's
the best.
She's the best. She's an epic human being. We love her. She's a hero. You know, we first met when she was sideline reporting, you know, for ESPN in the UK, and started talking football about 10 years ago. But guys, there was an episode where Rebecca went into the studio and these guys are all like putting their cologne on and everything. And Rebecca's trying to teach Dan and the boys how to say Leicester properly because, you know, it's so endearing. But she's epic, isn't she? She's just really special.
A legendary human being for sure. She's the best. Absolutely.
Yeah, legendary. So let's talk a little bit about the game last night. We'll switch gears and then we'll go back to European football because the US men's national team, I couldn't help thinking, like when I was watching that first half, I'm thinking, God, it's like watching Mikel Arteta do nothing, have no tactics, have no idea. You know, I'm going absolutely crazy. And I don't know, a little bit like Arteta, your coach is kind of he's unlikable. You know how some coaches might be average or whatever, but they're really likable. There's something about them that you can resonate with, and you believe in. They've got this kind of aura about them. But I'll start with Seton. He just feels unlikable, and it feels like the players dug him out of a massive hole yesterday versus him actually coaching up. I don't know. Am I right or wrong about that?
Well, it's certainly the tale of two halves, right? I mean, you do have to give him some credit for the changes that he made at the half. But I agree that he's just, Greg Berhalter just has a weird energy that I'm kind of like, dang, I really don't know if I like this dude. I don't know. Honestly, I can't really comment to like X's and O's and how he is necessarily like what his philosophies and systems are with the game. But when you watch him on the sideline, he's got a very strange energy that's a little off-putting. You know, he does weird things with the ball. He'll like smack at it, and you're like, dude, what is this guy's story? I don't know. Yeah, he'll like do weird things.
It's like he's swatting flies or something.
Yeah, dang, dude, what are you? Because then you watch Pep, right? And he's just like, he's got his own thing, but he's like so suave. He's just like the coolest. Mikel Arteta looks great on the sidelines, you know? By the way, my local club is the Hartford Athletic in USL Championship. And my wife, for some reason, is convinced that once Mikel Arteta is let go from Arsenal, he's coming to the Hartford Athletic.
Wow.
So
Sophie, by the way, that's Ryan from my show. That's his local club as well.
Is it?
So, yes.
Because my local team is the Orange County Soccer Club. I was there the other day. I go to as many home games as I can. They just fired their coach, by the way, so there's an opening there as well. Oh my goodness! Wow, how the mighty will fall, or have fallen. We have.
I'm like, well, babe, look, I think he might be offered some more high-profile jobs. I'm not saying it's impossible, but she's like, oh,
like what? Orange County Soccer? No, it's not more high-profile.
Then Hartford? Come on, Orange County versus Hartford. Oh my goodness. Well, look, I mean, like the first half was an absolute shit show. I mean, it was just terrible. But then the second half, you got to give him credit a little bit, because he definitely said something in the dressing room, Tanner, that changed the momentum of the game completely. And dare I say, the MLS guys kind of bailed the team out last night a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
No, please.
I full disclosure, I didn't watch the game, so I caught a bit of replay.
You bastard! Why aren't you watching the game?
I mean, I could tell you what I was watching, and I don't think anybody's gonna. I mean, you can all have a good laugh at it. But
what were you watching? Were you watching something about beagles on the Discovery Channel?
No. I was watching All Elite Wrestling. That's what I was watching.
Real wrestling, or
no.
Now you're talking JJ's language.
Yeah, professional wrestling. I was watching.
My brother-in-law just actually debuted for them. Brian.
What is that? Is that a new league, JJ?
What?
Is this? Yeah. So do you know Con? Con owns the Jaguars. He started this, so he's funding it, and they're going after WWE. They're competing with WWE, and they're doing pretty good. Cody Rhodes has done really well there, and everyone's done well. But yeah, Brian Danielson's my brother-in-law. He just debuted, and he was
the American Dragon.
That's his first. That's awesome. Old school.
I know. Listen, guilty pleasure, but I've been a professional wrestling fan my entire life. Anyway, we're off the rails here. So for
just so casually dropped that though.
Yeah,
right. He just made his debut last night. Like, dude, what? That's amazing.
Whoa! It's like it's either Adam Cole or it's Brian Danielson. Which one is it?
Daniel, yeah. So my sisters are the belt.
Don't tell him who your sisters are, because they'll.
Well,
tell him.
Clearly, you know now, probably because Nikki and Bree, obviously,
right.
they're my sisters. So obviously, in the last 13 years, I've been around the industry, and then John Laurinaitis is my stepdad. So I'm pretty embedded in I'm like the only one who's not in wrestling. Probably everyone looks like, what's wrong?
Isn't this better than talking about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers? I mean,
whoa! Pump the brakes. There might not be anything better than talking about Tom Brady. All right, I'm just saying.
We'll get to him eventually. So there's a new. So is this like this isn't going to be like the league? What was the name? The league that tried to rival the NFL a couple times. Is this what they're trying to do?
XFL.
XFL, no.
And then there was just the AAF or so. What was the one that just had like 2 years ago? I don't even think it lasted a full season.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Well, they brought back the XFL. And they were supposed to kick off right before COVID hit.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine was actually Seton. I'm sure you'll know this name, Doug Whaley from Pittsburgh. Good friend of mine, and he was actually like the executive director or something of the XFL when it relaunched. But they never played a game because that COVID hit and they shut it down. So.
I don't remember how long NFL Europe lasted, right? Isn't that what they called that? Where it was like the Rhine.
Oh, the Rhine Fire.
Yeah.
Fire, yeah.
Rhine Fire. The London Monarchs.
Yeah,
the London Monarchs.
Yeah.
Well, is that not still going? Maybe I don't think so. Maybe, but I mean, there's rumors about the Jags moving to London and stuff. They love it. They're eating it up.
Seems to be a hot name with that. Didn't they build their new stadium with where you could play
very
NFL
careful.
games?
Be careful how you use that name
Dirty
around.
words.
and yes, see, to answer your question though, yes, they built the NFL had massive input on the construction and development of that stadium. In fact, very much like University of Phoenix Stadium, the field actually can be rolled out, but they actually have two. They have an American football field, but they also have a proper pitch that Tottenham, the Scum, play on. So they're interchangeable. So
they actually built there was rumors for a long time that Robert Kraft wanted to buy Tottenham, and those conversations went pretty deep from what I hear. And part of building that stadium was, dare I say, less about the team and more about concerts and the NFL and maybe the Jags kind of going down that route and stuff like that. But JJ dropping WWE bombs, and what's the name of this new AEW? Everyone's kind of like asking.
All Elite Wrestling.
So do people hate your brother-in-law now because he's jumped ship to this other place?
No, because he's really like one of the most likable people. So it's really hard to hate him. I think even his character, even when he was a heel, he was like funny. Him and Kane did this whole yes and no thing, and they were just hilarious. They're awesome.
What Kane? Not Harry. Are you saying Harry Kane?
No, God, no.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I apologize, everybody. I apologize. I am the one that opened this can of worms. I am really sorry.
Talking
really
wrestling.
sorry.
They
really sorry.
No, I think I think wrestling fans don't have a favorite of WWE or AEW. I think they watch both, to tell you the truth. So I don't think so they're just probably happy that he's there, and he's going to be like the main guy there. So they'll get to see more of him. So I'm sure they're going to be excited about that.
I wonder if that's like the kind of thing too, where you just pick the storylines that you like better. Like, well, I like this one because these guys hate each other, and I kind of like that. I guess.
So,
I don't know.
So supposedly these guys have. I'm a big CM Punk guy, so of course when the rumors started that CM Punk was coming back, and by the way, if you haven't watched it, go on YouTube and search his return to Chicago. It is the absolute loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. I've never heard a professional wrestler's entrance theme actually get drowned out in the arena by the noise of the crowd. You at one point can't hear his music. That's how loud it is.
Boy, I need to learn. I don't have no idea what you're talking about now. Seriously. I love it.
It's fun to go kind of like behind the scenes, and JJ, I'm sure you can attest to this brilliantly. But to hear them actually talk about the inner workings of everything, and I guess one of the things with Tony Khan was these guys sort of get to write their own storylines. They'll get together with the other wrestlers, say, okay, who do we want to work with? And then they'll kind of create their own storyline. And then Tony Khan will basically come in and be like, yeah, that's cool. Go ahead, run with it. Or, yeah, that's good. But what if we took that and did this with it? Or, things like that. So they have a lot more input creatively than what they had with Vince and WWE.
Yeah,
is this a little bit like Vanderpump Rules? Right. Is it scripted reality?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Very apt. comparison.
Yeah.
Sophie, well done.
Thanks, Seton. I appreciate that. Oh man, maybe we'll do a special wrestling show on one of our.
I just wanna
JJ,
know,
maybe you
like,
can bring the family on. Go on, Seton.
when those dudes are like, they have more creative control, and they're like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna hit you with the chair. I'd be like, dude, go fuck yourself. Sorry. You're like, no, how about I hit you with the chair, dude? That sounds like a better. I'm not doing that, man. Get out of here.
I'm going to hit you with the chair, but as soon as you're done hitting me with the chair, you know what I'm doing? I'm putting your face in the chair, and then I'm going to stomp on it. What do you think of that?
Throw you out of the ring.
Right.
Turnbuckle.
I think Mankind was the only guy who probably asked to get hit by the chair. I don't know if you guys remember Mankind from back or
lay out some.
Hey, you see that big structure there they call Hell in a Cell? I have a great idea. Throw me off the top of it.
Yeah, it's only 20 feet high.
Right.
Maybe something like a table or something. Yeah.
Hey, you see that baseball bat over there with the barbed wire wrapped around it? Yeah, put that thing like right
it's time
here.
to get the samurai sword
Yeah,
out.
right.
I think the last time I watched a wrestling match or fight, whatever they call it, was Hulk Hogan. Like that guy. He and it's amazing to see The Rock and the career that he's built from that. To be honest with you, JJ, we should get the girls to be the next action heroines. Like if The Rock can do it, we can. You know.
Can. Oh yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And,
right.
Yeah, they should be. And then there's 2 of them, so.
Yeah, maybe we'll write a script. We could get that done. Right. What were we talking about?
We covered a lot so far. I know that.
I mean, you know.
All because I didn't watch the U.S. men's national team last night.
Well done, Tanner.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, in the end, they won 4-1 and it was great. I think actually the chat is enjoying the wrestling chat more than talking about Greg Berhalter. They're like, who?
James Johnstone, people are fake. Wrestling is real. Let's go.
It's great. That should be on a t-shirt.
Yeah, right.
Maybe we'll make those cheap t-shirts. All right, so the second half, Pulisic went off, and I think that actually the US started playing better without him, Seton.
Yeah, well, you know what? Finally, in the second half, you got a little energy from the team. You got a little passion. You got people who looked like they wanted to be out there and were, able to connect the pass with a little bit of pace to it. They finally they had a little bit of just, I don't know, will to win, it seemed like. And there were some kids out there who, took advantage of a big moment. Pepe, that's massive. That's a huge moment for that kid. And it was so awesome to watch. Brendan Aronson, he's really stepped
he's
up.
Special.
Where you're like, all right, dude, let's go. And, I would, sort of like refer to them sometimes as the B team. Which feels unfair, but because they're not Pulisic, they're not Weston McKennie, they're not, Gio Reyna and the bigger names, but they played with way more fire than any of those other guys did. So it was pretty cool to watch that.
Yeah, and my boy Sebastian Lletget really showed up last night too. I get to see him a lot here at LA Galaxy when I'm covering the games and stuff. And I thought he was the glue that kind of held it all together last night and stuff. So is he the man to take this team forward? Because there's one thing qualifying in CONCACAF, but when you go to the World Cup and you have to play some of these other teams and go head to head with these coaches, is it like, I'm going to try and find a reference here in American sports. Is it, I don't know who it would be, but it would be someone like an Urban Meyer going up against some dude that's just starting. Like, it feels like that's the kind of coach you have. Like, if I think of him trying to outwit other coaches on
Bill
the
Belichick
global
or something.
Do your job. I want that T-shirt too. I love Bill Belichick. I tell you something.
I have that.
I would just tune into his press conferences. Do you have it?
I do.
He is gold, isn't he? He's absolute gold.
He really is.
I still operate under the idea that when he's not, doing the press conference thing, when he's actually away from the media and everything, he's just like Ace Ventura. He's like super wacky, like just does the most absurd thing. Like he's, excuse me, does my breath smell? Like, I think he does all of those things. And that this whole media persona is just a joke. It's just him being like, watch this, I'm going to go not say anything.
Wait, so Seton, you know the Instagram account for the dog, right? Swoosh Dog.
No.
Remember, I think it was 2 years ago, the draft, and they had
Oh,
it was 2 years ago, and the dog, I think it's a husky, was sitting there at the computer, and he was gone, and all of a sudden it blew up. So now they call it, it's like swoosh dog. So you like to put them together. You know, he's like standing there waiting for the dog to come in outside, and he just like keeps opening and closing the door. You know,
So epic.
you know, he just to no one. The dog's just outside doing its business, and then there's Belichick just, you know, he's carrying it up.
He's so brilliant. He had Tom Brady on the injured reserve list for like 15 years, didn't he?
Questionable with a shoulder.
Questionable.
Dude. So
I have a question for you, and Tanner and JJ, you can jump into this too for Seton. If you could watch a Brady versus Manning or a Ronaldo versus Messi, Super Bowl Brady Manning, or Champions League final Ronaldo versus Messi, which one would you choose?
Well, I think it depends on which Manning we're talking about, because I don't want to see Eli.
Not Eli.
If I'm Tom Brady.
I don't want to see an Eli.
I'll take
Brady won't win. Yeah, Brady won't win.
Yeah, he won't win. Well done, JJ. I mean, he's beaten him twice, Seton. Let's be honest.
Yeah. You know, the thing, so is it with their Messi and Ronaldo? Is it with their current clubs?
No, it would be, I think it'd have to be Barcelona versus Real Madrid. And it would be Patriots versus Colts. I mean, I'm a Broncos fan, but that was just like, we bought that Super Bowl, really.
You took it. Yeah, you take the ring. But
we did a Man City on that season. we just bought the title. So would you choose the round or oval kind?
I would go with the round, not just because I'm on your show with you, but because it's kind of, as I'm sure you know, once that soccer bug bites you, it's kind of 24 hours a day. It's really all you do is either watch that or check rumors, you know? And so I'm way more passionate about soccer than I am, you know, the NFL. So yeah, I would watch that all day. That's like heyday Messi, Ronaldo. Hell yeah. Sign me up.
That's cool. Very
cool.
And
I think it's different too, because when you talk about, American football, and you're comparing the quarterbacks don't really, they don't play against one another. They're on the field separately, Right. So for me, I mean,
what do you mean by that? Is that like a golfer who just plays the course versus playing the player? Is that what you're saying?
Well, Brady isn't on the field at the same time that Peyton Manning is on the field. They're on the field at separate times just because of the way the game is played. Where Messi and Ronaldo are on the field at the same time. They could legitimately go at one another one-on-one on the pitch. So
yeah, but the beauty of football, I think, is it's like a scene in a movie, right? It's like Al Pacino and De Niro, they weren't on screen in The Godfather 2, but I mean, geniuses doing their craft and all of that jazz. Maybe I'm stretching with that one. I don't know, but
what one I would want to watch, though, if I could just jump in quickly. I would watch and this, I think most soccer fans are probably going to be like, this is so lame, but whatever, I don't care. I would watch a Juve Ronaldo against a PSG Messi in the Champions League final. I would watch that. I have no real interest in seeing Manchester United win anything. So, but I would love to see a PSG. But I mean, obviously, Ronaldo's moved on from Juve. But I think that would have been a lot of fun.
I love that. And you know what, Seton, you just went we already liked you, but now we super like you because saying you don't want to see United win anything. A round of applause, everyone, the gallery, please. Golf clap. Excellent.
Thank you.
We're also getting suggestions from Lone Star. He wants John Gruden at the Arsenal, or he's asking for Bill Parcells. Is Bill Parcells still alive? I mean, he's still around.
Yeah, he's still alive. He's not coaching. Is he
like in hospice or?
Wow!
I'm sorry.
AJ going for the judge.
And you know what? And he was Dallas.
JJ going for the late night
Dallas,
joke.
Honestly,
you know what's funny too about the Gruden thing? You could just be like, you take all of the same crap that he says now, and it still works for soccer. And that's just a guy who likes football. No. And you're like, all right,
he
could truly beat Ted Lasso, probably.
Yeah. Listen, speaking of who I would take at Arsenal, I would take Ted Lasso. So
Ted Lasso, and by the way, I love how evil what's his name has become this season. It's so epic.
Nate. I mean, we were just talking about this last night.
Yeah, he's so lost. He's just so lost. He's really he's got to find his way back because it's just not. He's not the villain. He's not.
So, Seton, did you introduce Dan to Ted Lasso, or did he discover it on his own? Are you nurturing him? Are you because I pop on the show every now and again. We do 30 good soccer seconds. It's like it went from 10. I think you were doing 10. I'm like, wow, 10 seconds just talking about the beautiful game. This is epic.
Right,
and then he upped it to 30. So now he's watching Ted Lasso. Did you make that happen?
You know, I think he tends to ignore whenever anybody in the studio, because like Paul Pabst, another producer, he's a big soccer fan. And
he's a Liverpool fan, right?
He is a Liverpool fan, yeah. And so whenever one of us brings up anything soccer related, Dan sort of like rolls his eyes a little bit. He's like, "Oh, okay, all right. Oh, the supporters go nuts, you know." And so, but that's just kind of him. That's his like sense of humor, you know. He's a ball buster. But I think that once Ted Lasso got nominated for like a gajillion Emmys, he was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I should watch this now." And he likes it. He's in. He's like, "Great show, loves it." So it's slowly getting him to embrace soccer just a little bit more, you know.
Has he picked? I mean, I don't even want him to support Arsenal because that's just cruel in so many ways these days. But if he was going to veer towards a team, I'd think he'd veer to yours or Paul's teams. Or he kept talking about Leicester for a while, but he couldn't even pronounce it properly.
He
tell
absolutely
the
did.
Story, because this is a classic.
So Rebecca Lowe is in studio, and Dan, not being, you know, sometimes you can't really tell if he does know what he's talking about or he doesn't. He likes to ride that line of like, he jokingly acts like he doesn't know anything, but he really does. And you're like, wait, dude, are you just fucking with us or not? Right. And so he has Rebecca Lowe on, and he's like, I don't know, did he call it like Leicester City or something like that? Or
that's right.
So he just really butchered it, you know, and he was just like, that's who I like to win. And Rebecca's like, oh, that's a bold pick, you know, like that's whenever the last time and that blah, 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 that's a really bold pick. And sure enough, they win, and he gets her right on the phone, and he's like, what's up? And he's like, we're like, dude, you called that. How did you do that? He went on this run of picking like everybody, and where he was just like, it's going to be like the Ducks are winning the Stanley Cup or so. Like he called like the Stanley Cup, the World Series, the Super Bowl, like Premier League, just randomly firing off these things. Like, oh, I got a feeling about so-and-so this year. Leicester City. That's who I like.
Leicester.
What, dude?
It's
and he
so
nailed
classic.
it, though. Nailed it. Yeah, that's him.
So
that
random.
is him in a nutshell. Yeah.
The truth is, Seton, Arsenal should have won the league that season. These lads will attest to it. There was a game against Leicester City at the Emirates, and Danny Welbeck banged in this header in the last gasp minute, and we went nuts. I was there. That game was unreal. I thought, oh my God, we're going to win the league. We're going to win the league. We didn't, but you know, at least Tottenham didn't win it, because that was the game with Tottenham and Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Do you remember the Battle of London? And they were poking eyes, and Chelsea got really dirty, and Tottenham crumbled. Thank God. I think the worst game I've ever seen, I had to sit through, not being a fan of the team, was the Champions League final between Liverpool and Spurs. That was probably the worst day of my life.
I remember that day like it was yesterday. And just because I have a good friend of mine is a Scum supporter, and another good friend of mine is a Liverpool supporter. And it's like, how do we figure that? Like, I just like, can it just end in a 0-0 draw and everybody just go home and be like, no trophy this year. Nobody wins it. But no, I watched
terrible.
It's funny because my buddy that's a Liverpool supporter actually coaches a youth club team here in Pittsburgh called the Arsenal FC of PA, meaning Pennsylvania. So, but how
is it? Sorry, go on, mate.
No, I was just going to say he had a game the day of the Champions League final, and it was said to us in no uncertain terms, do not text me anything about the game. In fact, I think he turned his phone off until he got home, watched the replay, and saw what happened. So ultimately, I was very happy at the result of that. So I didn't have to hurl myself off a bridge.
As soon as Liverpool scored the penalty in the opening 2 minutes, I'm like, I'm going running. I don't even run. I'd die if I went running. I mean, I'm useless for running. I can't even run. Like, I got no like endurance when it comes to running and stuff. And I just couldn't take it. I couldn't watch it. I just couldn't. But Seton, have you had a game like that with are you a Patriots fan?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. God,
yeah,
so you're going through the same thing as us right now. You're rubbish, right?
Yeah, I was at the. It's the only Super Bowl I've ever been to, but I was at Patriots Eagles, and that was absolute hell. That was just the worst because I was sitting. The place was just the Eagles fans were so fired up, right? And I mean, Philadelphia just already as fans is kind of tough, but then you're there. They're so fired up. And it's this crazy shootout, high-scoring game, and it was just like surrounded by all of this green, and you're like, God, this sucks, man. I just want to go home. It was the worst. It was just the absolute worst.
Were you at the two bowls where you lost to the Giants, like to Eli Manning? Can you believe that Eli Manning? I mean, there was some amazing catches. The miracle catch, of course, the one that bounced on the helmet and stuff like that.
Yeah, how does Rodney Harrison not get that damn arm off of that ball?
How does he not how does he not just rip David Tyree in half?
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure that's David Tyree's last catch in the NFL.
It is. It is absolutely his last catch in the NFL.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
That's a great stat. That's a great stat. JJ, you're a Cardinals fan, right?
Yeah, Arizona Cardinals. So well, optimistic me. I think we have a really good chance this year, but hold
on, JJ, just so Seton knows, he also picked Arsenal to win the Premier League this season. Go on, carry on, mate.
So maybe I shouldn't pick the Cardinals then. I think we have a great chance. As long as Chandler Jones' situation doesn't get messy, I think our defense is going to be really tough. But Murray's got to show up this year. This is it. I mean, he has the weapons.
Is Larry Fitzgerald still playing?
Free agent still.
Wow.
No, he's not. He should be a tight end for us, but it's all good.
Maybe Cliff Kingsbury is the Mikel Arteta of coaches.
Oh my gosh, that dude, he loves himself a little bit. That dude, doesn't he?
Well, I mean, he's a stud. I mean, the guy's smoking hot. Let's just be.
He's gonna look
God Almighty, are you kidding me? But it's weird because his record is kind of terrible. Like that was the one hire where you're like, how the hell did this dude get this job? Because it's got to be how hot he is. Like it's got to be that because there's no real reason to hire him there. But
they're probably trying to do because of McVay. I think they sort of took that route. Like, get the young stud to he turned around the Rams. He's going to turn around the Cardinals. And it's like, lightning doesn't strike twice. You know what I'm saying? I think we're in trouble with him.
Murray's talented. He's very talented.
Very talented. He's very talented.
He's a bit boring though. I find him
like weird dude.
Yeah. The best thing about him that I see is that they say when he runs, he looks like a toddler running away from you. He's like, It's like spot on. Like it's just like you're trying to catch her like your 2-year-old. He's just like.
That's so funny, man.
But he's fast, man. That's one toddler not catching. So.
Oh my God, JJ! Really? Is that the fan thing or?
Don't watch him scramble. You will see. Now you're all going to see is a 2-year-old with a helmet on, like running away from big guys.
You can't unsee.
All I'm thinking now is the scene from Identity Thief with Jason Bateman and
Melissa McCarthy.
Thank you, Melissa McCarthy, where he's running. She's like. The defense gets back to the sideline after watching Kyler Murray run. They're like, what is he, Kenyan?
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, we've got about Seton, you good for another 15 minutes here with us? Does that work for you? Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. Let's talk about, I want to talk about the show a little bit as well. Now, JJ and Tanner, do you watch the Dan Patrick Show?
Here and there. If it's on like in the morning, I always.
It's okay if you don't.
I do. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. You guys are actually you're my favorite show. You're definitely my favorite show. That's for sure. Because I love Dan Patrick. The guy's awesome.
I've been, I'm sure JJ will attest to this as well. I've been a Dan Patrick fan since even before the days of the Big Show. Him and Olbermann on Sunday Night Sports Center. Yeah. Boy, those are the good old days, man. Those are
that dude's annoying.
Keith I was never a fan of Olbermann, but that was like the heyday of SportsCenter where these guys all had their catchphrases and their nicknames, and it was fantastic. I usually end up catching.
I wasn't living here then, Tanner, and I'm sure it was like. I mean, that they built the whole ESPN thing.
That crew was so good.
Oh my god, it was fantastic. Yep. I mean,
they couldn't miss. Every single one of them was good.
Yep. I mean,
the first time I heard about SportsCenter was in an episode of Beverly Hills 90210. I mean, I was living in England then. I didn't really know. Do you know what I mean? But it's such a great show, and I mean, you've worked with Dan for a long time, haven't you? And the four of you have been together as his team for a long time, and I'm sure you love each other, and there's moments where you just can't wait for, like, you know, July 4 holidays in the summer where you get a little bit of a break.
Yeah, well, you know, I say to these guys sometimes that they're the longest relationship I've ever had. You know, like I've never had, like, even with my wife, I've been married to these guys way longer than her, you know, so like,
I love it.
Yeah.
So when you guys also get to do a lot of really cool things, of course.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that you got to do that I saw once was you get to kind of, like, when you're at Pebble Beach and you get to hit balls with Nick Faldo and stuff like that. Do you prefer that type of stuff to, say, for example, going to a Super Bowl or any of that stuff? Like, of all the things that you've got to experience, what's like the coolest stuff that you get to do?
Yeah, that kind of stuff is pretty awesome because they're like so unique, you know. Like one Super Bowl, you know, we would go to the Super Bowl city, but very rarely go to the game itself, right? So we would do a whole week of shows from Miami or Phoenix or, you know, wherever the you know, New York City, and then just the guests that are coming through. You always end up with these crazy combinations, or like somehow you end up like catching a pass from Dan Marino and you're like, oh my God, Dan Marino just threw me the ball. And, you know, you turn right into that like Uber fan, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, Dan Marino just did that. So yeah, that kind of stuff is cool. There was a weird adjustment for me, to be honest with you, of like, I don't know if it's like imposter syndrome or like I don't really belong here doing this right now, you know? Because when you're with Dan, you're kind of just like, he's like a beer and wings guy, right? And that's kind of how I've always known him. And then you go out with him at night and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. You live this whole other life where you're in, you know, you're out to dinner with, like, you go to Ivan Reitman's restaurant and you're with Adam Sandler and Dan Aykroyd and they're telling stories about Saturday Night Live and you're just sitting there like having drinks. And you're like, wow, that's crazy. And you're like, what the hell am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, not just, I don't mean to like that. That's like, awesome. I'm dropping names, right? Clearly.
No.
What life is this? You know what I mean? Right. Like, where it's just surreal sometimes where you're like, I can't believe, like, of course I'm in Toronto shooting a movie with Adam Sandler. What? Of course I should be eating here. Like, what? That's just not,
I love that.
It was the furthest thing from what I thought life was going to be. You know,
I love that. You know, funnily enough, you bring up Adam Sandler, but when I was head of PR at Columbia Pictures in the UK and Ireland, I did the European PR for Big Daddy, and I got to look after Adam and his family when they came over. And I have to say, of all the talent I've looked after in my career, he was the coolest. In this drawer back here, I have a letter from him that says, thank you for looking after me and my family. Like, when people talk about certain talent and stuff like that, he is, and I'm sure that, you know, you guys have hung out a lot, but I have to say he was incredibly polite, cordial, kind, and so generous. He was really unbelievable guy, really fantastic.
There's like, you know, there's no reason. Sometimes I'll think to myself, yeah, because he'll come in and be like, hey, how's the boy doing? Is he playing soccer? How's he, you know, he might not necessarily remember Kieran is his name, you know, but he's like, hey, how's your son doing? Is he still doing? He doesn't have to be that nice. He just genuinely is a really nice guy. He's incredibly generous with whether it's his time or anything else. Yeah, he's as nice a person as I've ever met.
Very cool. All right, so we'll get you guys out on some of this fun stuff real quick. JJ, look, I know you love meat. I've seen you cook your stuff, right? I mean, you are Mr. Meat Guy. Seton, Tanner, are you a meat guy? You haven't gone flower power on us, have you? Or you're still you like some good old ribs?
Do you have any? You should have seen the damage that I did to Rib Fest last weekend here in Pittsburgh. If you could see what's happening from here down, like just in that midsection area, it's pretty disgusting. I gorged myself on barbecue last weekend. So yes.
See, and are you still into Meat Friday then? JJ knows. I mean, he can cook up a storm. I don't know if he has a Traeger grill. I know that's a thing for you guys, but are you a meat? Do you love the meat, or it's not like you don't put it on your plate and then go eat a plant-based burger? Do you?
No. Although I am very much into meat. But and as a matter of fact, we had wings and ribs this weekend. I guess. But I was a vegetarian for many, many years. And the way that I finally broke that was I had kind of been like flirting with it for a little while where I'm like, dang, I don't know how much longer I could do this. Just like the idea of bacon, I was like, and it's not necessarily that I was against the idea of eating meat. I just didn't like factory farming and like that whole sort of thing. And so I got back around to like, man, I think I'm going to just kind of stop being vegetarian. And I was outside of Fenway Park hammered one night. I had way overserved, and there was a sausage and peppers cart right there. And I was like, yep, I'll take one of those, and just crushed it. And I was like, oh, I'm back.
I'm back.
You know? And right there, I was like, all right, well, enough of that crap.
He's talking to the sausage. I've missed you so much.
Let's go get a burger, you know? Yeah, I was right back in it. For sure.
Yeah, I went through a vegetarian phase too. I think it's after I watched Singles, Cameron Crowe's Singles in the 90s, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be vegetarian and I'm gonna save the world and all that stuff. And then I went to Cyprus, and my best friend's grandmother makes the best meatballs, and I was just like, just put them in my mouth right now, and that was it. I went back to yeah, meat's good, right, JJ? Meat's good.
It's literally the best. I don't know how people don't eat it. Tell you the truth, as you said, bacon. Like when you think about, it's bacon.
I've said to myself, like, yep, you know what, this is it. I'm gonna go. I'm with Seton. The whole farming industry of the way that this stuff is produced and everything. That's why. And you're gonna give me an opportunity here at the end of the show to talk about something, but. Yeah, I just think about it. I'm like, man, no, I can't. I can't. It's like, bacon, meatballs, salami, steak, ribs.
I don't eat every day. Do you guys eat meat every day? Do you eat meat every day? I can't eat it every day.
I mean, are we counting chicken and fish?
Oh my God, you sound that's so epic. That's a totally Greek. A Greek person will say, I don't eat meat, but I like chicken.
Well, you know, one time I went to a family party one time, and I was kind of new. Man, I don't even know if I was married or just dating my now wife. And she took me to a family party. It was like somebody's 50th wedding anniversary or something, right? And it was like a big party where they rented out a place and they got it catered and all this stuff. And I got there and she was like, oh, well, he's vegetarian. And the guy's like, don't worry about it. We got chicken right over here. You just go eat some of that. Like, nah, dude, that's not what vegetarian means, bro. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we got chicken piccata. We got everything over here. Don't worry. We take care of you. Like, yeah, dude, no, that doesn't mean like, it's just red meat. It's like all meat.
It's like us Greeks, we're really proud of that scene in My Big Fat Greek Wedding where the crazy aunt goes up to him and she goes, what do you mean he doesn't eat meat? She goes, don't worry, I will cook lamb. Like, oh my God, that's so epic. All right, I'll get you guys out on this. Who's going to win the Super Bowl this year? And who's going to win the Premier League for you, Seton? Let's start with you first.
Well, I'm going to say Manchester City is going to win. And I'm going to go with, there's a lot of hype on the Rams. There's a lot of hype on the Bills. For some reason, I want to say the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. And I really don't have any reason why other than just a gut feeling.
The Ravens. I mean, yeah, they seem to choke at the end, but they could be one of those. They've been there, and maybe this is going to be the season where they do it. JJ, are you seriously saying your Cardinals are going to win it all?
Yeah. Yes. If someone else is going to win it, no. No, I think the Cardinals. But yeah, if I had to pick someone else, and I hate saying this, you might like yourself, but the Rams, Stafford, man.
There, yeah.
We get to see him with a the best coach he's probably ever been coached by, and a team that doesn't just let him get destroyed. He actually has a team. Like, we get to see Matthew Stafford with a freaking team. You know, it's don't get me wrong, he was blessed with Megatron for all those years, but they weren't good. You know, so it'll be exciting to see them. Although I hate them, but I'll give them that respect.
The Cronkies can't win anything, like ever. I will go burn that place down.
Well, hopefully he'll take that money and spend it on Arsenal. But,
right.
Tanner, I love that you live in Pittsburgh, but you're not a Steelers fan. I can't stand the Steelers. I really just can't. Everyone, when they say they're the classiest franchise in
sports. Sure, live here and see how their players act in public. Everybody, Ben Roethlisberger, I've thrown Ben Roethlisberger out of my bar twice. So
nice, very good.
Well, hold up, dude. You live in Pittsburgh and you're a Patriots fan?
So
pilgrim in an unholy land.
So quick story, Seton. When I was a kid, I grew up in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, which is near Harrisburg and Hurd. I grew up, quite frankly, about 40 minutes from where Christian Pulisic was born and where he grew up in Palmyra, PA, which is it's not a suburb of Hershey, but like if anybody, like that's where he's from. And I'm from roughly the same area. So I had the Eagles to the east. I had the Steelers to the west, which is where my mother's family's all from out here in Pittsburgh. And funny enough, growing up in Carlisle in the 80s, they're the Redskins. I'm not politically correct on your show, Sophie. I apologize. They're the Washington Redskins.
It's okay. We won't get banned yet.
They had their training camp at Dickinson College in Carlisle. So there's a big swath of Redskins fans where I grew up as well.
Look, his internet started cutting out as soon as he said like the Redskins. Did you notice that?
1985, I decided that I really liked the old New England Patriots uniforms with the snapping Patriot on the helmet and everything. And I decided they got to the Super Bowl 20, and I said, I'm going to root for the Patriots. I'm going to be different. I'm that asshole kid. I'm going to be different from everybody. I'm going to have my own team, and this is who I'm going to root for.
Yep.
And I rooted for them in the Super Bowl. Whew. And Seton, you know what happened. But yeah, 46-10. A defensive lineman scored a touchdown against them. It was not good. And my grandfather said to me, no. Because then all of a sudden I was like, no, I'm a Bears fan. No, I was kidding. I'm a Bears fan. And my grandfather was like, no. You pick those guys. Those are your guys. Yeah. And I tell everybody that I've been a fan since before it was popular to be a Patriots fan. And I suffered through some lean years.
That's with the blackout games. You can watch them.
Yep. Playing at old Foxborough Stadium, which I've been to. But to win the Super Bowl this year, everybody's got to be different, man. Everybody's just, it can't happen again, can it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It can happen again. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, there are 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and Tom Brady.
TB12, baby.
Let's go. Sophie, if you ever want to do a show of just letting people try to tell me that he's not the greatest quarterback ever, I'll happily sit in and just the stats argument done, the rings argument done, even the Belichick thing. Who was done?
The fact that he did that, Tanner, that he went to Tampa and he won the year after they just, they didn't want him there. It's unbelievable. I mean, it is one of the most incredible sports stories. I loved it. I'm a Broncos fan, but I was like, I love this. This is epic. And you know what? I agree with you. I've got my money on Tom Brady taking one more, and then he gets that Lombardi trophy, and instead of tossing it, from his speedboat, from his $1 million boat this time around, he's just going to put it under a horse, have Giselle by his side with her hair flowing, that beautiful wife of his. She's super talented, by the way. She's more than just a beautiful face. And they walk off into the sunset, and he says, goodbye, I'm done. That's how he'll end.
That's the thing, though, Sophie. It won't happen. He's going to. I mean, he's going to play until he said, he feels like he can't win a championship. What a great picture
that would be.
Oh my God, yeah.
On a horse on the ocean with Giselle and the Lombardi trophy. Can we make that happen with Sports Illustrated?
Somebody's gonna paint a picture of this.
Yeah.
As long
Can we
as
get
the
Tom
Rams
in a
don't-
bathing suit, please?
Yeah. Look, this has been so epic. I love this episode, and I said it's like a Seinfeld episode. Kind of was about nothing, but we talked about everything. Seton, do you promise to come back?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. I had a blast. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome stuff. And we're Tanner, will you just real quick, if you mention the Beagle thing real quick before we go, because it's very important.
If I get a little emotional, please forgive me. I'll make it quick. There is I mean, they're all over the world, so this isn't just UK specific or England specific, but there was a video that came out a couple of days ago of 3 vans carrying 16-week-old Beagle puppies off to laboratories to be tortured, tested upon, whatever you want to say. And I have 3 Beagles. Excuse me. I'm sorry. There's a petition. If you find me on Twitter, I've pinned it to my profile. You can sign the petition to hopefully get them to stop with this. They breed Beagles for the express purpose. It's called Marshall Bioresources, and they breed Beagles for the sole purpose of basically auctioning them off to laboratories to run tests. And like I said, I've pinned a thing to my Twitter profile. You can find the petition there at Camp Beagle, just like it spell it, at Camp Beagle. They are camped outside the gates of MBR Acres, which is in Huntington, in England, or Free MBR Beagles, or at Beagle Freedom, which is the Beagle Freedom Project. They're based in Southern California. They certainly help with this. It's a cause that is very near and dear to my heart. It's just absolutely.
I'll put it in the description of the show as well, Tanner, and then we'll bring you back and we'll do something on it as well. But I love it. I love, we love our dogs. They're our family, and this is a great thing that you're doing. And well done. We need more people in our community doing good things as well. That was a brilliant, fun show. Excellent stuff. Want to thank Seton, JJ Garcia, breaking the. We talk wrestling, we talk Brady, we talk soccer, we talked Sandler, we talked a little bit, we talked about meat, we talked about everything on the show. So thanks everyone for joining. I'm going to be back in about an hour with Super Kevin Campbell and Chris Carpenter to talk about all things William Saliba and his progress in France. In the meantime, we salute you. We're out.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.